Our top story this hour, the financial crisis in Greece has taken a violent turn today as angry protesters take to the streets and clash with law enforcement. Greek police were forced to use tear gas grenades to disperse an angry mob of rioters in Athens. Protesters even set a bank building on fire, killing 3 people inside. The chaos comes amid a 24-hour nationwide strike that left thousands of flights grounded, shut down ports, schools, and even left many hospitals understaffed. Could those powerful images unfolding in Greece ever become a reality here in the United States? Here to talk to me about that very topic is Gerald Celente, director of the Trends Research Institute. Mr. Celente, you've said frequently that the United States is heading towards a financial crisis. Do you think what's happening in Greece right now is what's going to happen here in this country too?
It's not only going to happen in America, it's going to happen in most of the world. We have talked about this for months on end. You saw it's the Second American Revolution has already begun. It began in 2009 on April 15th with the Tea Parties and the tax protests. They were laughed at by the major media. And then we saw it again in July of 2009 on the 4th of July, when hundreds of thousands of people took to the streets. We saw it at the protests for health care reform. We saw it when over 1 million people, nearly 1 million people, marched on Washington on September 12th of 2009. This is going on worldwide. The people are protesting. The Greek tragedy is merely another chapter in the protests against the too big to fails.
Is there anything in the Greek system that's different from the United States economy that could keep that from happening here?
Well, the difference is that the United States could print its own money for a while, where the Greeks don't have that option. But and of course the Greek people have caused their own problems as well, just as the Americans by overspending and theirs with their pension and tax cheating. But the overall reality is that the people are seeing what is this bailout all about and who is responsible for funding it. And it's falling on the backs of the people, just like in America, where they've taxed the people to bail out the too big to fails. Let's call this Greek bailout what it is. It's bailing out the European and the American banks that made big bets on Greek bonds that they're afraid are going to go belly up. And the people don't want to shoulder the burden, and we're going to see these kind of tax protests and revolts go worldwide.
You know, right now officials keep saying that we're heading out of this recession and that things are getting better. So why do you think that things will get that bad when it seems like every day on the news these people are coming out and saying, you know, this will never happen here in this country?
It's a temporary bailout, as we said. The United States in 2009 and early 2010 has spent, lent, and guaranteed over $11 trillion. This is fake money. It's Fantha money printed out of thin air, backed by nothing, and not worth the digital money. It's not digital paper. It's not printed on. So we're going to see this collapse as the stimulus collapses. That's what happened in Europe as they started to unwind the stimulus, as they attempted to raise interest rates. The economies start to fail. We're going to see it in Spain. We're going to see it in Portugal. We already see it in Latvia, the Ukraine, in Hungary, in Ireland. It's going global. There's no stopping it, and the people are going to revolt. This is a classic example of what happens throughout history as the too rich get too much and the rest of the people are taxed to pay for their overindulgences.
You know, it seems like aside from the Tea Partiers that you mentioned, and it's really hard to ignore them, we're not really seeing a massive public movement or outrage against bankers or anything like that in this country. I mean, in comparison to what's going on in Greece right now, do you think people are apathetic or they don't really know what's going on? And do you think we will see a 180 and perhaps things might get violent like they are, you know, what's going on right now in Greece too?
In 2007, in our Trends Journal, where we forecast the top trends of the coming year, we had predicted tax protests. We called it the coalition of the cash strap. Back in winter of 2007, you could have bet that all odds that Americans would have never gotten off their lazy boys and out onto the streets. This is just the beginning. As conditions worsen, as unemployment goes up, as more money is needed to bail out failing firms, you're going to see the same things happening in the United States that are going on in Greece. And again, it's going global.
Mr. Celente, you're clearly pretty good at predicting things, as you just pointed out. What's going to happen next, and when will this collapse hit American society, as you said?
Look at our top trends for 2010. One of them is the crash of 2010. We had forecast in December of 2009 and make that the global economy was going to collapse, and one of the primary reasons behind it was going to be a currency crisis. It's underway. They can't stop it from happening. What is the, by the way, what's going on in Greece with the IMF and the Economic Monetary Union bailout, it's against the Maastricht Agreement. They're not supposed to be doing this. This is only a temporary fix. It's not going to work. So as this fails, we're going to see another crisis pile up upon it. And we're saying before the new year of 2011 begins, everyone will know that the crash of 2010 has occurred.
Well, Mr. Celente, Director of the Trends Research Institute, we appreciate your analysis as always.